Okay, so I'm here with C. Stephen Foster, who is the best part of this fantastic short comedy, other than the writer, director, filmmaker. Seriously, welcome to Warsaw. How's it going? It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
We love having you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's hard, like all these films, particularly with your one, because we're going to talk about it, but I wish everyone could have seen it before we talk about it.
Okay.
Genuinely, your performance is fantastic. I love the film. You're going to please give us the synopsis first.
Okay, it's about these two petty thieves who decide to rob a girl's apartment. They find her purse in a bar, and they decide, well, since we need some money, we're going to rob her apartment. And unbeknownst to the robbers, they come home early.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to everybody, my character has come back from the insane asylum and is sleeping in one of the bedrooms. So it's kind of a madcap comedy, sort of like the Marx Brothers, sort of 1930s screwball comedy.
It's a screwball, yeah. That's what it's a screwball, isn't it?
Yeah. So my partner Chuck and I were kind of bringing back the over-the-top screwball comedy. That's sort of our goal with our little company.
So the whole part about you being, well, you're not mad. You're just a bit unhinged, I guess is the best way to describe it, and very amusing. With okay, is it the teddy bear? You got it's a teddy. It's
That's a sheep, actually,
okay.
And we call him Wooly.
Whose idea was that? Was that actually part? Was that ad-libbed?
That was actually ad-libbed. It was actually on the set in my fake bedroom, and when I went to pack my things at one point, I saw it sitting on the bedside table, and I grabbed it. And unbeknownst to me, the theme in the bathroom is all sheep. There's like a sheep shower curtain, and so we just kind of decided that was sort of the tie-in, that it was sort of my character who was obsessive compulsive, who would have a stuffed sheep and sheep curtains and all that.
You are very fun. What I love about one of the things I love about this film is we should point out, because some of the dialogue, it reminds me of, it's kind of Tarantino-esque in terms of, because he's quite smart, this guy, isn't he?
My character,
no,
yes.
This character, no, you're brilliant, but he's quite smart, and again, for those that haven't seen the film, you kind of get the impression that they don't want to be doing this, really, do
No,
they?
they don't.
Absolutely, you know.
They're petty thieves. They're in over their head. They have no idea what they're up to, and they're just doing it because they can't find jobs. And that is Chuck's political angle on this. Is like these two
Yes.
hardworking guys
Yeah.
in the economy. I don't know how it is in the UK.
No, because they're kind of white collar. I
Yep.
refer to them as like white collar.
Yes.
Because they're not, like I say in particular, they're not stupid people.
No. They both have college degrees.
Yeah, exactly. Now I know we're going to talk to Chuck in a little bit, but with because you obviously you knew the whole story because of Chuck, obviously, and he's your partner, but were you involved in the writing side as well? How did it all sort of progress, or is it with him and you kind of? How did that all work?
It was originally an idea based on Thomas, this guy here. We were all in a play together, and Thomas said, my apartment was actually robbed when I was in New York, and I was actually making out with my roommate, and unbeknownst to us, the robbers were somewhere in the apartment, because when we went to bed that night, we got up and the place was ransacked. And
you both looked at each other and went, "What?"
No, Chuck said, that's a really great idea for a film. If I use that idea, would you be in the movie, Thomas? And we knew he was an actor.
Yeah.
So that's how it became about. And I wasn't involved in the writing. Chuck wrote it all himself.
Yeah.
I was just involved. Chuck would show me the drafts of it, and I would just add my 2 cents worth, which is not,
okay, a little bit.
Which is not much, because Chuck's a genius. Chuck wrote the song "It's All About Me" and "Nothing Can Stop My Boys" in our musical, The Green Room.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with genius, you got to let them go. You got to let them do their own thing. If you're too nitpicky, you're too critical, it'll shut them down. And you can't do that with the genius. You got to understand their beast and how they work. And I understand how Chuck works because we've been together for a long time. And so I knew just to throw in, like when we were on the set, I threw in the whole thing about this character, about you have a bat cave and you'd make a great crime fighter. That was stuff that was actually from another script that I actually ad-libbed in the moment just to fill up some time, and it was actually kept in the movie.
Thank you. And can you tell us a bit about the Green Room?
The Green Room is a musical that Chuck and I wrote, and it just had its off-Broadway premiere. And the way it came about is I was actually, when we first met, I was starting a theater company with a group of friends, and Chuck told me about this little 4-character musical that he had written, and we produced it as part of my theater company, because that's what you do when you first meet someone. You love them, you love their work, and it evolved into a 2-act musical, and now it's been performed all over the world, and now off Broadway.
Oh, honestly, congratulations! I'll congratulate him in a moment as well. That's fantastic. Now this is.
And I think that all came about because of what you guys do at these independent film festivals. I want to say something about the independent film festivals that you guys do, because you guys give filmmakers and artists like myself a chance to be seen. Chuck and I have discovered, or I've discovered, in the film festival market, it's so saturated now with studios that actually getting an authentic indie film into something without a big budget, and primarily a big marketing budget, is very difficult. And so what you guys do is you guys give people an opportunity to have their work to actually be seen and marketed and put out into the world more than they could do themselves, and I really commend you guys for doing that.
Thank you. That means, so honestly, means a lot.
And you know I really mean that.
No, I know. You know, it's you know how Dan and I feel about you and Chuck. I mean, we love the fact that you're giving us this support. And in fact, Colin, we were talking the other day after you turned up, and Colin and I were talking about you just being there. And Colin said, "You know what, Steve? The festival's going really well. You and Dan have done a brilliant job." He said, "But actually, when you look at Chuck and Stephen and see how happy they are, and the film and the support," he said, "really, that's what it's all about." And he's right. That means everything to us.
Well, but that's because you guys give people an opportunity that is growing smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, it almost becomes like these two guys. You know, you become renegades of filmmakers. You just want your work to be seen and be out there, and it's becoming more and more impossible, but more possible with smaller film festivals like you guys have.
Thank you. You're a treasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.